That is the law upon which empires have been built for centuries. But right now, the rules of the game are changing. A new ocean is being born on the planet where there was once only an icy desert. This is precisely why Trump's insane idea to buy Greenland was actually a stroke of strategic genius. Cast aside the ethics and diplomatic etiquette of the 21st century, the battle for this island isn't a real estate issue. It's a question of world domination. And America is ready to do whatever it takes to seize this key for itself. So, why has this chunk of ice suddenly become the center of attention for the Pentagon and Beijing? What really lies behind Trump's crazy proposal, and what cards are currently on the table for world leaders? Today, we will uncover the true reasons, peel back the layers of this geopolitical game, and understand why America needs Greenland so badly. Let's go. Reason number 1, real estate of the empire. Let's start with the fact that Trump views the world through the lens of a developer. To him, a world map is just a site plan. Historically, the US loves buying land. Louisiana was bought from France, Florida from Spain, Alaska from Russia at less than 5 cents per hectare, a price that still makes Russian jingoists weep. In 1917, the US bought the Virgin Islands from Denmark for $25 million in gold. So, the precedent exists. Moreover, Trump wasn't even being original here. In 1946, President Harry Truman, the man who dropped the atomic bombs, put an offer on the table for the Danes: $100 million in gold for Greenland. He was refused. Trump simply dusted off an old file. The math here is simple and brutal. Greenland's area is 2.16 million square kilometers. If you annex it to the US, America instantly surpasses China and Canada, becoming the second largest country in the world after Russia. For a nation obsessed with the slogan, "Make America Great Again," physically expanding its territory by 20% is a powerful drug of greatness. But let's be honest, Trump doesn't just want square kilometers of desert. He wants what is hidden inside and around that desert. The periodic table versus China. You are reading this text on a smartphone or computer screen. Inside that device are rare earth metals. If you drive an electric car or dream of a Tesla, there are even more of them. If you are a Pentagon general ordering an F-35 fighter jet or a missile guidance system, you cannot survive without neodymium, dysprosium, terbium, and other elements with unpronounceable names. Now, watch closely. China controls about 80 to 90% of the global market for processing these metals. Beijing has Washington by, let's just say, the technological throat. Xi Jinping could stop the assembly lines at Apple in California and the military factories at Lockheed Martin with a single stroke of a pen. In 2010, China already restricted exports to Japan during a diplomatic dispute, showing everyone who's boss. Greenland is the life raft. Beneath its melting ice lie gigantic, practically untouched reserves of rare earth elements. The Kvanefjeld deposit is one of the largest in the world, and uranium. Control over Greenland would allow the US to break China's monopoly, secure resources for its military industry for 100 years to come, stop depending on the mood of the Chinese Communist Party. This isn't just business, it's a matter of national security.
When Trump talked about buying it, he wasn't thinking about ice flows.
He was thinking about batteries for the future. The unsinkable aircraft carrier. Look at the globe from the top, from the North Pole. You will see that the shortest path for a ballistic missile from Russia to the US runs directly over Greenland. During the Cold War, this island was America's eyes and ears. It was there, at the Thule Air Base, now renamed Patufic, that the US built giant early warning radars. If the Soviets had pushed the red button, Greenland would have known first, giving Washington a precious 15 to 20 minutes to retaliate or pray. Today, Thule is the northernmost outpost of the US Space Force. It is a deep water port, an airfield capable of receiving strategic bombers, and a satellite tracking station. Losing access to this place would be suicide for the Pentagon. But there is another acronym that makes NATO admirals' palms sweat: the GI-UK gap. Greenland, Iceland, UK. This is the bottleneck of the Atlantic. For Russian nuclear submarines of the Northern Fleet to reach the open ocean and threaten the US coast, they must pass through this corridor. Whoever controls Greenland controls the cork in this bottle. If Greenland becomes neutral, or, God forbid, pro-Chinese, Russian submarines could roam the Atlantic as if it were their backyard. Trump and his generals understand perfectly. This island cannot be given to anyone. The new ocean and the battle for logistics. The climate is changing. Greta Thunberg can be as angry as she wants. But for the big men in suits, the melting Arctic is the sound of minting coins. The ice is retreating, opening up new shipping lanes. The Northern Sea Route along Russia and the Northwest Passage along Canada and Greenland are becoming navigable. The route from Shanghai to Europe through the Arctic is 40% shorter and cheaper than through the Suez Canal. Plus, there are no pirates or Houthis with rockets. Greenland is the gateway to this new ocean. It is the ideal location for logistics hubs, refueling ports, and rescue centers. Whoever owns Greenland will skim the cream off the traffic of the future. China realized this before many others. Beijing, which is thousands of kilometers away from the Arctic, brazenly declared itself a near-Arctic state, a term they invented themselves, and began pushing the concept of a polar Silk Road. The Chinese Gambit, how the US almost overslept. The funniest thing about this story is that Trump didn't panic for nothing. While America slept, China moved with the grace of a boa constrictor. A few years ago, a Chinese state-owned company made an offer to Greenland. Guys, you have bad airports. Let us give you billions, build 3 huge international airports, and you just say, thank you. It's a classic scheme, tested in Africa and Asia, the debt trap. China gives a loan, the country can't pay it back, China seizes the infrastructure. Imagine the horror at the Pentagon. Greenland defaults and China takes over the airports. Suddenly, on an island that is part of NATO's defense system, Chinese civilian planes, dual-use technicians, and espionage equipment appear. An airport in Greenland is essentially a ready-made military base. The US had to intervene in fire alarm mode. Washington pressured Denmark so hard that Copenhagen instantly found the money and funded the construction itself, just to kick the Chinese out. Then, a Chinese company tried to buy the abandoned naval base at Grønnedal. Denmark intervened again on US orders and blocked the deal. This wasn't paranoia. This was a real attempt at the creeping annexation of the island through economics. And Trump's offer to buy it all wholesale was simply a radical way to solve the problem of Chinese influence once and for all. What is happening now? When Denmark responded with a hard, "No, we are not for sale," Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen called the idea absurd, Trump canceled a state visit to Copenhagen like an offended child. But the American machine didn't stop. If you can't buy ownership rights, you can buy loyalty. The US switched to soft power tactics, which work more quietly but effectively. Consulate in Nuuk. In 2020, the US opened a consulate in Greenland's capital for the first time since 1953. This is a direct diplomatic channel, bypassing Copenhagen. Direct cash. Washington allocated a $12.1 million aid package for civilian society development, education, and tourism. Translation from diplomatic speak: we are paying you to love us, not China. Military investment. The US is investing billions in modernizing the Thule base, making it indispensable to the local economy. Greenland is currently in a unique position. Legally, it belongs to Denmark, but Denmark is a small country that spends over $500 million a year maintaining the island. The locals, Inuit, dream of full independence. But independence costs money. Greenlanders understand. To be free from Denmark, they need to sell their resources. And here they have a choice: sell out to China or sell out to the US. There is no third option. Trump wanted to simplify the equation by just writing a check. It sounded rude, brazen, and imperialistic. But in the world of high-stakes geopolitics, there is no room for sentiment. America needs Greenland to contain Russia in the Arctic, to stop China from seizing the resources of the future, to control the shipping lanes of the new ocean. So the next time you hear about insane ideas to redraw borders or buy territories, don't be too quick to laugh. You might just be watching superpowers carving up the carcass of a polar bear that hasn't even been caught yet. And in this fight, the stakes are higher than they seem. The Arctic is melting, ladies and gentlemen, and the sharks have already smelled blood in the water. And be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. The battle for the Arctic is just beginning, and we will be tracking every move in this game. Don't miss the next breakdown. See you soon.